The man that's still searching for those 3 stars, Mr. Wolfie from Forest Fan TV. Let's bring him on. How we doing, Wolfie?
I'm good, boys. How are you?
Yeah, very good, my friend. You know, tide's starting to turn a little bit. You know, what's going on with you, though? What's going on?
Still finishing
Wait, did I hear you right? Tide's turning a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. You know, won every home game in the Champions League, haven't conceded a goal. We've
You guys
just
are
beaten
really
Brentford.
grasping onto anything right now, aren't you?
Wait, Wolfie, when we last spoke to you, said you're very confident you're going to finish above Tottenham this season. Very confident.
Nothing's changed, boys. Nothing's changed. It's like you're coming towards me. I don't even have to do any work here. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just dropping down that table as I expected. But no, I'm good, boys. I'm good. It's good to be back. It's good to catch up. It's good to talk probably MGW and Marinakis and everything, no doubt.
What's happened? What's happened at Forest, though, man? I know we've spoken since then, but back end of last season, everything was great. European qualification, Nuno at the wheel. What's Marinakis done to your football club, man?
Marinakis is serious, so he's doing what he needs to do.
He's serious that you qualified for Europe with Nuno, and you've ended up 3 managers later with a firefighter in Sean Dyche. How's that happened?
Yeah, that I don't agree with. Look, let's run back the clock. So Nuno had to go because Nuno decided he wanted to speak out against Marinakis. It only ends one way. Like he came out alive. He should be happy. So he's gone. He needed to go, right? Ange, we talked about it when we hired Ange. I wasn't for it. I wasn't against it. I was like, let's see what happens. And I think Ange was really hard done by, if I'm being honest with you. The football was quite good. It wasn't all high line for life and this stuff. But he just couldn't get that win, and he got unlucky in like 2 or 3 games that we should have comfortably won. I mean, we were 2-0 up a couple of times, and Ange figured out a way to blow it. So he had the media fully against him. I don't know what it was like with Spurs, but the knives were sharpened for Ange off the bat walking into Forest, and he just kept biting and biting and biting and making it all about him. And that was his downfall. He couldn't get the fans on side. I think even if he was winning games, the fans were going to turn on him because every presser was at Spurs this. Spurs sacked me because of this. I was promised this, that, and the other. And you're like, is this a Spurs match preview or a Forest match preview? And the journalists just knew how to play him. And they just kept asking him those questions and those questions. He kept biting and biting and biting to the extent where I think his game against Chelsea, Forest didn't even air his presser. It was just not aired.
Did he have a presser? He was sacked, wasn't he? Oh, you mean the pre-match one?
The pre-match presser. Forest didn't even air it because the journalist got to him so much, and he just went on this massive Spurs rant and massive Ange rant, and then he was sacked literally in the tunnel, which is just so Marinakis. So yeah, he went, and then I think the panic kicks in, and they go and get Sean Dyche. There was a lot of talk of Marco Silva coming, but he had a 14 million pound compensation clause that Forest didn't want to pay. His contract's up at the end of the season, so in comes Stone Cold Sean Austin, man. And yeah.
In terms of Ange, do you think like Marinakis told him when he came in, you have to like hit the ground running, you have to start getting results quickly, otherwise you're going to be under pressure immediately?
I think the narrative or the objectives for him was win the Europa League. Win the Europa League, sustain Premier League position, and that's what I want from you. I think Marinakis just saw the trophy last season and was like, right, that's what I want, and that's what I'm doing. But I don't know. We played really good football for a couple of games, but then there was some crazy things like you were seeing Milenkovic playing as right wing. It was honestly Milenkovic, who's like a brute of a guy, you know, not the guy you want to be dribbling and taking on players down the right wing. He was on the right wing, and you know, sometimes Gibbs-White was the last man back and all this stuff. So the organization was a little off. It was entertaining to say the least. I'm sure people not connected to Forest were watching the circus show with with popcorn, no doubt. But yeah,
I tell
it did
you,
last
for your streams when Ange was your manager was pure cinema, man. They were pure cinema. I think in your comment section it was like majority Spurs fans, I swear.
Mate, honestly, these Spurs fans were coming out of nowhere and they were arguing with themselves because clearly there was still an Ange in, Ange out in your fan base.
There
And I'm
still is,
freaking
yeah.
seeing
Still
the
is,
butt
yeah.
end of it in my comments. Like there's chains of Ange in, Ange out.
Did
just
you
from
see?
fans.
Did you see a massive increase in your Australian viewership when
Yeah,
Ange was there?
there was loads of Australians, but I quite like that. I'm always one who is, if something's going to attract new fans into a club, that needs to be the way football goes. I don't buy into this tribalism thing too much. I think every club needs to grow their fan base because with fans comes revenue, with revenue comes shirt sales, with that also comes generations after. So I don't have. I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you have to be born in the postcode of the ground you support, otherwise, you're not a true local fan or what have you. I don't buy into that. I think football needs to be more inclusive and more opening towards fans. Even if they're new fans who have never seen football before, I look at it and think Australia is a really good football market. There's a lot of really passionate fans out there who do follow football. There's loads of Forest Australian fans who've emigrated out there or what have you. So I like the idea of more fans, taking an interest in my club. So I was all for it. But yeah, they flooded in, flooded out, and I don't know where Ange is now, on holiday, no doubt, but I'm sure they're keeping an eye on him.
In terms of just his sacking, like, were you, when you lost that game, for you, were you like, yeah, just get rid? Or did you want to give him a bit more time?
I think there was 2 games before that, I can't remember who he played, where I was like, this ain't working. And I was like, he probably will be going. When I started hearing Dyche as the name to replace him, I was like, give Ange a contract for life. I was like, I don't want Dyche, and I was like, I don't want that football. If I'm going to have to watch Forest be shit, I'd rather watch him on the front foot than the back foot. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, and I've seen too much Dyche ball in my time at Forest. Forest are traditionally a counter-attacking team. For me, Dyche is just too negative. It's a bit too low blocky, a bit too long bally. And it's not my style of football. I think Dyche will do fine at Forest, but stylistically, I'm talking here, it's not really what I want to see. And I don't think it's what Marinakis wanted to see, which is the whole point of him. One of the reasons I would say that he went for an Ange person who is more progressive on the pitch than counter-attacky or low blocky.
Wolfie, talk to me about a bit more about Marinakis, because back end of
You
last
are
season,
obsessed with my guy, man.
we love speaking about Marinakis now, because back end of last season, everyone was singing his praises. Is there a bit of a negative reaction after everything between Marinakis and the Forest fans?
There definitely was a few fingers pointed at him after the Nuno stuff, but it was more indirectly. Because the whole Nuno...
Yeah, because they want to stay alive.
Well, there's that as well. I mean, don't speak out against Marinakis, right? But it was more indirectly because of Edu. Edu's the one who's causing a lot of fan debate. Because Marinakis brought him in to look after his empire, to grow that empire and what have you. And him and Nuno clashed over, I think I told you guys, over Adama Traore, of all people. That was like the straw that broke the camel's back. So after that, when he went, Ange came in. Everyone saw Ange as a Marinakis appointment. It wasn't a club appointment, if you like. And it was made obvious when you look at the statement that was released by the club when they signed Dyche. It says Edu and Sirianis are the 2 that have done the research to get what's his face, Sean Dyche in. So there has been a bit of negativity around Marinakis. I'm not in that boat because I look at what he's done for the club, where we were when he picked us up, who we had before in COYS, and then he's picked us up and obviously dragged us into Europe and put his money where his mouth is. So I still... Am I critical of some of his decisions? Yes, for me, I wouldn't have gone with Sean Dyche. I'd have paid the 14 million for Marco Silva. That's the kind of manager that would suit Forest well. I don't think he's too negative or too attacking. I think he's got a nice balance in his play. So that's what I would have done, but I don't control the finances at Forest. But yeah, there has been a little animosity, but I would say the majority of the fans still love Marinakis.
For you, Wolfie, this season, is it just about surviving relegation. Is that where you're at? Do you really believe you could get back into the mix, maybe mid-table, and maybe even, I don't know, if you go on a really good run and getting out, because it is very congested in the league. So you go, you win 3, 4, 5 games in a row, all of a sudden you're potentially near the European spot. So for you, before the season, you're looking at the Europa League and maybe kind of solidifying that European spot qualification. Where are you at now with?
Did you just say Forest win 4, 5, 6 games in a row?
I'm saying if you do,
we did it last season, mate. Us and Newcastle, the only 2 teams that won 6 in a row.
They won 5 in a row, and now they're third. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Has Sean Dyche ever won 5 games in a row?
No. I'm not saying it's realistic.
Has he
I'm
won
saying
5 games?
Great question. Where's your head at in terms of what you're looking at this season? Is it just
I've never considered us in a relegation battle. I just think the table is too congested. Normally, traditionally, you'd expect the table to have thinned out by now, getting towards Christmas. But you do look at it, I think we're 2 or 3 points off that chasing mid-table pack. I think if we beat you at the weekend, we're 3 or 4 points behind you in the table.
You'll
as
be
well.
5 points if you win.
Is it 5? You sure?
Well, you're right now 7 points.
Is it 7?
Oh, so 7. Oh,
4.
so you'll be 4 points.
Yeah?
You'll be 4 points, yeah.
Yeah, so be about 4. And I think it's still early days. I don't think the table now starts to settle until end of January. So, yes, if we get a couple of wins, now that we played our Europa League games, there's a little break until the final 2. I think that'll be towards the end of January. So it's now Premier League, Premier League, Premier League. I still think Forest can push towards the top half of the table. I still think we'll finish ahead of Spurs. I still think our squad is better than yours. I just think all the mess that's happened over the last 4 months is now starting to thin out and settle out. And we've got some big players who are coming back and are fit for this weekend. So I'm still optimistic about it, despite Sean Dyche being the manager. But if you look at the form table, I think Forest is 6th in the form table. We've won 3 out of the last 5. So on the pitch, it is starting to get back to normal. But the key player for me, boys, is Murillo is back. We just look a completely different team with Murillo in the team. And it even showed yesterday. Murillo on the pitch, we were winning. The minute Murillo goes off, they concede. But we still somehow managed to scrape the win. So, yeah, I'm very optimistic because of our squad. I still think our squad is very strong. I still think we haven't got a tune out of 90% of the new players we've brought in. But the squad is good. It's just, can Forest stop doing Foresty things?
Well, in terms of Dyche, we've mentioned him a few times. Like, for you, is he just an appointment to make sure you stay up, or is he here for the long term? Do you think? Where does he have to finish? Do you reckon this season to earn a second season, or is it just about even if he finishes 17th, he's going to be here next year?
I would like to hope he's a stopgap. I think it was a panic appointment with the position we were in to just steady the ship and get things back on track. I personally, I know I took the piss out of you guys when you sacked Ange, but I would do the same thing. If Dyche wins the Europa League and Forest are still in the Premier League next season, I'd move on from him. He's not what I want to see long term. So if he's a short term appointment, I can stomach it. But if he wins the Europa League, they'd probably think of putting a statue up next to Cloughie for him. That's the thing. So it's an interesting position I might find myself in. But yeah, I think the general perception was steady the ship, get as far as he can in the Europa League, push back up the table, and see where we are in the summer. But I'd definitely be going for Marco Silva in the summer.
No way Dyche actually wins the Europa League. You think he has a chance?
I think the squad has a chance. Like, let's be real here. This is Dyche's first ever campaign in Europe. I think he got Burnley into Europe.
He did. He got Burnley into Europe once. I don't know if I can't remember.
He
if they
didn't.
Like,
yeah, they had a qualification.
Did they lose
match.
the qualifier? Yeah.
Yeah, they lost, ironically enough, to Olympiacos, who Marinakis owns. So they didn't technically play a league match in the Europa League. So this is new to him as well. Can he go and win it? Honestly, boys, when I look at the quality in Europe, and I include the Champions League, some of the teams we're seeing now in this extended version of Europe, I can't even pronounce half these names. They're just, very small teams that are just getting there just to help earn revenues and what have you. So I look at the Europa League, and I think Villa, for me, are probably favourites, and then Lyon and Roma. and then Forest. So it just depends on how the knockouts play out. Forest are pretty much qualified now to at least the knockouts of the qualification. We've still got 2 games left in that. And I think we can do it with our European heritage, Champions League next year and 3rd star. That's the plan.
How is Dyche compared to Nuno in terms of the football he plays? Is it the same, or is it more defensive? Or?
It's like Nuno but without strategy is the best way I could describe it. So it's very Dyche ball. There's a lot of long balls. There's a lot of balls being pumped up to Igor Jesus up front or to the wingers. A lot of crosses coming into the box, where I think our strongest asset right now is our midfield in the likes of Elliot Anderson, Douglas Luiz, Sangare, real ball-playing footballers. And I just feel at times we're bypassing those too much and playing to our wingers, who I think are our weakness right now. And that's where I think he's just got to tweak the strategy. But this is Dyche ball. What he's done is made the defense look more like the defense of last season. But he just hasn't got it right in the final third. I would say there is a lot of similarities between the way Forest are playing and Spurs are playing under Frank right now. There's just not enough football. I don't know if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Where you want to see the ball on the ground, moved around at pace. And that's the other thing, the build-up's too slow. When we are building up on the ground, sideways, backwards, sideways, long ball. And I just want to see someone like Anderson or a Douglas Luiz who can take control of that midfield and then play those balls through the lines. Bring the wingers in properly, get the ball to the striker and what have you. And I think both teams have those qualities within them, both Forest and Spurs. I just don't think on the pitch the tactics are playing out for either one in that way. And I think that's from both the managers.
Would you take Thomas Frank?
Hell no.
No?
No.
You'd rather keep Sean Dyche and Thomas Frank?
I'd rather Sean Dyche and Thomas. I see them as 2 cheeks of the same ass, if I'm being honest.
That is complete crap. I bet you wouldn't have said that. I bet you wouldn't have said that off the back of the Brentford job before you saw what he did at Tottenham.
No, I said it to you guys in the summer. I've said it to all the Spurs fans. There's no way I'd want Thomas Frank in. I think he's one of the most overrated managers in the Premier League, who did an average job at an average club.
Job? The lowest wage bill in the whole Premier League, and he's consistently finishing mid-table.
I think it's a very average job. I really do. What has he done? If you really look at it, to make himself qualified enough to take on a so-called Big Six team.
Look at all these. Okay, fine, but look at all these teams that come up from the Championship and go straight back down. It's hard to sustain. Even they can even stay up for 1 or 2 years and then they run out of steam. But to sustain a club like Brentford in the Premier League for the amount of time he did was a brilliant job. How can you deny that?
And that's his level. This is my point. His level is not to play in the Champions League, to push Spurs to try and actually be a proper Big Six team. That's not his level. It reminds me too much of Graham Potter, if I'm being honest with you. And I think you have to start to question, at Brentford, was it Thomas Frank or was it the hierarchy and the setup and the organisation of the club? Because I think most people had Brentford to be in a relegation battle this season or probably go down with the players they've lost, the staff they've lost. And under Keith Andrews, who was a commentator, let's be honest here, a commentator in the Championship, they've kind of picked up where he's left off. And you see the same thing at Brighton. Brighton were able to go straight from Potter to De Zerbi to their manager now, and the system, as in the ecosystem, hasn't changed much. So I would question, was it him or was it the setup?
I think all is about to be revealed, though. I think Spurs have been getting better, though, over previous weeks. And Frank is actually a notoriously slow starter at all the clubs he's been in. So he needs time to really imprint his ideas at the club. But I am seeing it get better. You saw us last week against Brentford. I don't know if you saw that game. I mean, we played proper football that day.
I've seen Spurs a lot over this season, and I'll be honest with you, I've made sure I'm not operating heavy machinery at the same time as watching Spurs. I find your football so boring under Frank. It's just
Sean
boring.
Dyche over Frank is a complete disrespect, man.
You're asking me to choose between would I rather vomit or have diarrhea? That's what you're asking me. It's like I don't see a difference in their styles at all. And with the assets that Thomas Frank has been given, I'm sorry, Spurs being 11th in the table now is not good enough. From
11th
your
in the
parrot.
table.
But you
Yeah,
think
but
you'll
we're
finish above us?
we're only 3 points out the side the top four. Top
And
five.
you're only potentially after this weekend 4 points going to be ahead of us.
After
And
this weekend,
apparently Forest
we're
are in a
beating you
relegation.
this weekend.
We'll be 10 points clear of you after this weekend.
Good luck with that. Good
We
luck with
don't,
that.
we don't need luck to beat Sean Dyche's
I
Forest,
think
let's
you
be
do.
real.
I don't think a manager who's won three games in 2025 at home is one I'd be.
Well, first of
sticking my
all,
chest out.
a large chunk of that was your ex-manager. It's not all of Thomas Frank.
No. Your manager, Thomas Frank, under Brentford and Spurs,
Yeah, he
has
had a
won
bad
3
home-
or
he had a
4
bad- he had a
games
bad
at
did
home.
he?
home form, the second
Yeah.
half of the season last year.
All right.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
I
Like,
don't know if that stat is true, but I do know he had a bad home
It is
form
true,
second
yeah.
half of the season.
But
it's true, so-
after that bad home form followed by like unbelievable home form, didn't it? Like because
No, it was the opposite. How good home form at the start.
that's
Really
what I
bad.
said. Yeah.
Yeah. I was followed.
But then
by,
it
yeah,
switched. Then his
preceded, yeah.
away form went to pot. So it's this is what I'm saying. I actually, as much as I dislike Spurs, I do look at that squad and think with a better manager, someone would be getting the tune out of them. I really do. I just don't rate him, boys. And I know your fan base is pretty divided at the moment about him, and I know a lot of it is to do with play style. Because that's the thing I didn't see working is his play style at Spurs. He's going to come in and he's going to have this boring, pragmatic football, and pragmatic is just a polite way of saying boring. And that's what I've seen with him. And Spurs, for me, traditionally have been a front foot attacking team. Yes, you've had some chaos with Ange and what have you, but you can go back. Decades ago, like when I was growing up with football, Spurs was still, when you had the famous five, it was still attacking. There was still a little chaos in there and what have you. It's entertaining to watch. And I think that's the core of what Spurs fans want. You don't always expect that you're going to be in a title race. Don't always expect you're going to win trophies, but you do expect a certain level of entertainment on the pitch. Now you can argue, sorry?
Panache. Really. So
Panache, yeah.
A bit of panache, yeah.
Exactly. And I don't think that's there right now. And I think that's why. Come on, how many times has your team been booed off at your own stadium this season? I've heard it plenty of times.
Well, the last 2 home games we were cheered off, so things must be getting better.
Bro, you're sticking on this 2 games win. Let's be honest. You beat a team no one's heard of in the Champions League and Brentford, which is his ex-team. And let's be honest, he should know them inside out.
And he's done very well.
Let's not live in a small moment. And in the form table, if you want to go on recency, you're still behind us in the form table in the league. So
Form table, schmorm table, we're above you in the league. It doesn't matter where you are in the
but you're the
form
one
table.
bringing in the recency. So if you want to do recency,
Yeah,
then
because
look
it's
at-
a new manager, so you've got to give it time to progress, and it's progressing.
I hear
If the
that.
recency is the best thing about it, then obviously it's on an upward trajectory.
Well, let's see what happens this weekend. I just think even if your form's picking up, the style of play is not his style of play is not going to be one that pleases the Spurs fan base. Even in
And
the
you
long
talk
term.
about your form as well being so. You've lost 2 out of your last 3 games.
And we're still ahead of you in the form table. So make that make
Depends
sense.
when you take the form. If we go last 15 games, we're above you.
Well, form table's usually done 5 or 6 games, isn't it? So-
Last 5 games, yeah, you're
Yeah.
doing better than us. But yeah, your football's not much better though, is it?
I'm not here saying it is, boys. I'm saying the complete opposite. I'm not enjoying watching Forest. This game has always been one I look for. Like at the start of the season, Spurs is the first one I'm looking for. Obviously, me and my brother figuring out what we're doing with the games and what have you. I gotta say, this build-up, I've been like, okay, we're playing Spurs. It's going to be a dead game.
Did your brother want Ange out? Because we were speaking off camera. You said he's very much not happy with Frank.
He's not happy with Frank. He was not wanting Ange.
He wasn't wanting Ange, so
Yeah, he's not easily pleased.
would he sack Frank tomorrow, your brother?
Yeah, I think he probably would. Again, he's one of those who grew up watching that kind of style of play. I think it's more about style of play with him when it comes to Spurs and what he wants to see. But I don't know. Is that something you would say is replicated in the fan base? You
I
guys would
think
know
it is
better
fairly
than me.
split at the moment. I think we're obviously Frank. We did pull a couple of results out of the bag last couple of games. We are looking a bit better, but before then, it was very much the tide was Frank needs to start playing better football, otherwise we're not having it. I think that was a big sentiment. I think at the moment, I think people like him personally. People do like him as a person and like really want him to do well, but the football was pretty much impossible to get behind up until
The reality is, style of football doesn't matter if you're winning. If you're winning,
Correct.
everything's fine. It's when
Correct.
the results start to turn and you're playing poorly, then you look more at kind of like style of football and everything like that. So he wasn't winning. The football was shit. So everyone pointed to the style of play, which was fair enough.
I think you'll bang on with that. You will stomach it as long as you get in the 3 points. But the thing is, what managers need to understand from us tribalistic fans is that even if you're losing and you can see a style of play that is the type you want to see, you're prepared to give that manager more rope. I think when managers like Sean Dyche and Thomas Frank, they make it harder for themselves by playing this style of football because this style of football has to produce results quick. So even for the most patient Spurs fans, if he continues to play pragmatic football and you're not getting the results, his lifespan is a lot shorter than a manager coming in who maybe would be trying to put, an aggressive attacking style and not quite getting the results. So I fully agree with what you're saying, but I think that's not just a Spurs thing. I think that's a football fan thing in general. Nuno, if Nuno wasn't getting results last season playing the way he was playing, the patience and tolerance wouldn't have been high. But because we got the results, because we got where we got, you're fine with it. You're fine with it.
And you couldn't see a style of play of Ange? And he lasted 5 Premier League games.
Yeah, played 8-1-0. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing. I guess Forest are a bit more of a serious club than Spurs, and Marinakis wouldn't hold on to that for 2 years, and he was like, right, I'll make the change now. Whereas you guys tolerated
Well, I'm
it.
pretty sure you would take 17th in the trophy this season, Wolfie.
He
I
said
would
he would have
definitely
taken
take
it
that.
last season.
I would definitely. I'd take 17th in the trophy every single year. I got no problems with that.
Well, you got half your wish. You're 17th right now.
Yeah, we're halfway there then.
Talk about people that you're not a fan of. What about Morgan Gibbs-White? I've seen a lot of complaints from Forest fans from Morgan Gibbs-White. Maybe he's turned it around a little bit of late.
Head turned.
Yeah, did he have his head turned in the summer? What's this bad form all about?
Well, you will remember in the summer when I told you that I didn't think he was in our top 5 best players, and you guys are like, what, really? And all this. This is the reason why he's very inconsistent with his form. I think he's been trying too hard. He's actually been scoring more goals this season. I think he's got 3 in the league and a few assists as well. So he's not consistent this season. It is the biggest thing for me. I do feel that his head was turned. At the same time, I think he'd had his second child as well, and there was a lot going on in his life.
Yeah.
He also got dropped from England, which I think cut him quite deeply in the last call-up. And since that drop, actually, his form has picked up because I think he's had a rocket put up him to say, if you want to be on that plane to the World Cup, that form needs to pick up. So he started scoring goals after that. So, yeah, his form has been better. I still think he's very inconsistent. My opinion of him from the summer, from when the whole we always win thing was going on, hasn't changed. I wouldn't be surprised if he still goes this summer. I know he signed a new contract and everything, but it wouldn't surprise me if he goes. And also, he's been eclipsed massively by Elliot Anderson. So Elliot Anderson is the one making all the headlines out of our midfielders now, and rightly so. But is Gibbs-White still a good player? Yes, he is.
Anderson's going to be on his way, isn't he?
I think Anderson goes in the summer. It's just a question of will Marinakis be able to do it on his terms, or will people put the cash in earlier? What I think is going to happen, boys, is Forest will want to do it after the World Cup. Because
someone
I think
needs to find out what that secret release clause is for Elliot Anderson.
Well, I don't think too many people.
Not bid exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
bit of quid less than it. Yeah. But no, there's been a lot of rumors and speculations on release clauses and everything. There's a lot of BS floating around about it. But I think what's going to happen is Forest will want to do it after the World Cup, because I think he will start for England alongside Rice. His price goes up 10, 15, 20%. Whereas I think clubs will be trying to do it before the World Cup, worried about what his form's going to be like in the World Cup. So I think that will be an interesting one over the summer. But the thing with Elliot Anderson, he is a really humble guy. He doesn't kick up a fuss. He just turns up, plays his football, does what he needs to do. I don't think he's pushing for a move. I think Forest will get money that they can't refuse. He's still got a lot left on his contract. So yeah, but he's one that if we hold on to him this summer, I'll be very surprised.
I shudder to think the tactics Marinakis will use to keep Elliot.
Oh, he's got a few tricks still up his sleeve.
God.
It's called gun to his head behind a camera. That's what it's called.
I don't want to see that dungeon he has ready for Elliot.
You know what? I don't know if you boys had it growing up, but my parents used to have that look. You know what I'm saying? Like, they give you that stare, and you know you're in trouble. Marinakis has got that. He doesn't need no gun, no weapons. No. He's just got that look. It's like, know your place.
At the end of the day, we always win.
Exactly.
What happened to that?
At the end of the day, we always win. How many wins have you had since that comment?
I know, but what you guys don't understand is the context of what that meant. That was against Spurs. We always win against Spurs. So that's why I'm not worried about this weekend. We beat you twice last season. Traditionally, back in the 90s, we beat you every time. So what you guys...
go from last season to the 90s.
Yeah,
what happened in everything in between?
Yeah, it's a bit of a haze. COVID was a lot longer than I remember, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, no, I'm kind of looking forward to this game, boys, but not as much as I normally do. I just think we're in for a dire style of football from both teams. I don't know which manager is going to want to set up more defensively or which manager wants to counter-attack more, but I'm not expecting this to be one that's top of the match of the day. It's going to open up match of the day or anything. So I think we win this, but it's going to be so boring.
What's your score prediction?
I think we get a dirty, scumbaggy 3-0 victory.
3-0? Nah, you're not being serious, man.
No, it'll be 1-0. Do you know what? Like, banter aside, I think it finishes 0-0.
0-0.
I don't think we're good enough in the final third. I don't think you're good enough in the final third. I think your attack is woeful. If I'm being honest with you, I think your midfield is weak. I think your biggest strength is your defense, as is ours. I think our midfield is better than yours, but take your pick from the attacking three. From outside of Kudos, take your pick from the rest that you're gonna do a combined 11.
Got
Javi. I think my broken arm's got more muscle than.
Do me a favour.
So, again, Javi 2 games and suddenly he's Messi now, but we'll see.
We've never lost when he started. Hopefully he starts.
So if he doesn't start, you've lost. Is that what
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. There's a high chance of it, yeah.
Well, it's a big
I don't know.
game
I think your fan base has
us.
been very harsh on him. I think he has needed time to settle. He is a good player. My biggest criticism of him is physically. I don't quite think he's there. I think he needs to spend a bit more time in the gym bulking up. But in terms of a footballing brain, in terms of a player, I think he's decent. But it will take him time to adjust. But players aren't given that luxury in the Premier League from any fan base, not just yours. So they have to hit the ground running or they're shit. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Wolfie, there's a chance if we beat you this weekend, you guys are back in the relegation zone.
Yeah, but
that's how close you are to it.
There's also a chance I could pull a supermodel this weekend. I don't think that's going to happen. So
I guarantee you, Forest finishing this weekend in the relegation zone, there's a much higher chance of you pulling a supermodel.
All right, well, I like the chess. I'll remember all these little things when it comes to Sunday afternoon, and you lot are there doing your emergency streams about how the hell did you lose to shitty Forest.
Don't talk about
who's had more emergency streams this season? Let's put it that way.
Good. I'm looking forward to the crash outs from Wolfie when we see you on Sunday.
Well, I don't tend to crash out when we win, so you may have to.
That's why there's going to be a big crash out.
Are you guys that confident that you're going to win?
Spurs are coming for the 3 points this weekend. I'm telling you, we're going to get the win.
How is my question?
We got the best away form in the league, don't we?
No, you don't.
Second.
You lot have been living off this away form crap when you're not even top of the away form table, man. You need to update a few of those charts you've got there.
Well, if we win, we go top of the away form.
Where are Forest in the home form table?
Where do you reckon Forest are on the home form table, Wolfie?
17th, 18th.
18th.
Yeah.
Not even worse than you think.
Yeah, but to be fair, most of those were under Ange.
You even got worse home form than us. How's that possible?
Ange. The default Spurs answer, Ange.
I don't say blame the manager when you keep saying, "Oh, the players will pull us through." Where were the players pulling you through then?
They've been injured, bro. They've been you lot. Wait, hold on. You lot can't blame injuries last season and then not afford me the same luxury this season. So
How many injuries?
Who's been injured?
Who's been injured?
Who's been injured? Murillo's
Yeah.
been injured. Douglas Luiz has been injured. Bakwa's been injured. Chris Wood
Who?
is still
Bakwa?
injured.
Player
Einar's
never
still
heard of
out
him.
injured. Huh?
Bakwa. He's barely played. Who is this guy? Bakwa.
Because
The
he's been
winger.
injured. He's been
Alright, so
injured.
you can't say we're rubbish because this guy Bakwa's injured.
Okay, forget Bakwa, but you're going to ignore Einar. You're going to ignore Chris Wood, who got over 20 goals in the league last season. You're
We
gonna
all know that
ignore
was a
Murillo.
one-off season for Chris Wood, mate. That was never going to be replicated
One-off
this
season.
season.
Chris Wood gets double digits pretty much every season in the Premier
Yeah,
League.
but last year he got like 20.
Exactly.
That's
So-
a one-off
It was
season.
a complete anomaly, his finishing last season. And
He had I think he had the highest conversion.
that's what I'm saying.
rate
He's never going to have that
in
again.
Europe or something
You think that's
crazy.
sustainable
Like.
for Chris Wood? He's going to have
Well,
the
he's not going to
highest
do it now, boys, because he's been out since the first international break. So
Chris
you know,
Wood ain't probably not even getting back into your starting lineup. Never mind scoring 20 goals for you.
I'd just be happy to see him fit, mate. Honestly, we don't know what's going on. We keep getting told next week. It's one of those ones. But I got to ask you about the thumbnail. Why you got Solanke on there? Is he
So
back?
all will be revealed. He's back in training apparently, but we got a Tottenham update coming out after this where we're going to talk all about it. But
Don't look too worried, Wolfie.
Solanke pisses me off, man. He scores against us all the time when he was at Bournemouth. So
he
I
won't
don't
score.
mind him
He
not
won't
playing.
score against you tomorrow. I guarantee you that. On
That's good. Yeah.
Sunday.
Maybe Jono, huh? I've heard he's injured. Is he injured?
He's back.
back.
He's back. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. He will never hurt the team he loves, so I'm not worried about that one. But yeah, no, I like a couple of your players. I think Kudos does too much though. You could argue he's not got enough players around him to help him. I kind of like Bergvall. I think Bergvall.
Only kind of.
Yeah, only kind of. I know. Again, is he one that splits your fan opinions?
No, everyone
No,
loves him.
everyone loves him. Yeah.
Everyone likes him, yeah. And who else? Obviously Spence. But outside of that, boys, I don't really see many of your players getting into my team.
Romero, Van de Ven.
Van der Ven I like.
Vicario?
Romero, he's a bit petulant, isn't he? But
Vicario.
no.
Moani.
Vicario for me feels too weak under crosses. I think he has improved this season. I think his best game for you guys was against Monaco. I thought he saved you in that game.
He did.
He was very good, but I just still feel that he's susceptible under a cross or under a corner or something like that. So maybe that's our avenue to beat you this weekend.
You can have your brother in the studio for the watch along.
I've done that before. It just doesn't work, man. I think last time I allowed him in for that game was when we came up and you won 2-0, if I remember rightly, at the City ground.
On a Friday night.
What year was that?
That was the year we came up. So was that 4 years ago?
23.
Yeah, so I ended up throwing him out of my house. And I remember when we played you guys in the League Cup in 2014, we went to that game. But we have this thing, like whoever's home, we got to go in that end. So I was in Spurs end for that one. And we took the lead. I don't know if you guys remember it, 3-1.
Yeah, Mason scored.
Yeah. Why does everyone always remember Mason scoring? Like, they don't remember the
It's
other two.
embarrassing.
Like
but
one of his
Mason-
only goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
pretty
going to
much.
say, it's that rare an occasion. Yeah, so I remember we took the lead in that game. I remember having to secretly celebrate. But yeah, your ground was dead, and that was White Hart Lane. The atmosphere was terrible that night. Very, very quiet. But that was
It always is
fun
for
to
the small
watch, wasn't it?
teams. It always is for the small teams.
Wasn't it someone's debut that day?
I got a feeling Harry
Mason,
Kane
isn't
came
it?
on. Was it Harry Kane's?
Kane came on and scored, yeah.
Yeah.
And Soldado, I think, scored.
So that was it. That was the third one. Yeah. But we rested a lot of
God,
players.
you let Soldado score against
Soldado
you,
and
man.
Mason.
It was our B team. It was our B team.
Of course it
We were
was.
top of the league at the time.
And
so we had
Mason
to
and
rest
Soldado
players.
was an RB team.
What happened to him, man? He was terrible. Man.
He was so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, shocking. All right.
All right, look, Wolfie, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend.
It is.
And we'll
Thanks for
definitely
your time,
be
mate.
exchanging some words after we beat you this weekend, that's for sure.
I look forward to your emergency stream, boys.
Nice to see you.
See you later, mate. If you want to see
Have
the
a good one,
crash
boys.
out,
Good
if
to
you
see
want to
you.
see the crash out Sunday afternoon, go subscribe to Forest Fan TV and some top quality Forest fan content there. But Wolfie, thank you for coming
Much
on,
love,
mate.
guys. I'll see you later.
See you later.
Man.